Toyota announces their Xfinity Series roster, and Richard Childress Racing reveals an all-new look for Kyle Busch's number 8. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. My voice is doing a little bit better today, and that's a good thing because we have a ton of news to get to. Real quick though, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest NASCAR news. We always discuss rumors on this show, and once the season ramps back up, the race reviews will kick in once again as well. We're getting really close to 200,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the videos, if you just like talking NASCAR, hit that subscribe button down below. I greatly appreciate it. Now let's get to the news. Joe Gibbs Racing and Sam Hunt Racing revealed their Xfinity Series driver lineups for 2023. 2 days ago, JGR revealed Sammy Smith will drive the number 18 car full-time next year. So there will still be an 18 car on track next year, just not on Sundays. Jeff Mendering, who was Brandon Jones's Xfinity crew chief last year, will move over and work with Sammy Smith. Pilot Flying J will be his primary sponsor. Sammy Smith is fresh off back-to-back ARCA East Series championships. And, you know, I'm aware of Sammy Smith. Obviously, I've watched the many Xfinity races he started this year. I've watched a lot of ARCA races he's competed in. But it wasn't until I sat down and actually did some research for this video that I just realized how dominant Smith has been the last couple years at a very young age. Sammy Smith is just 18 years old. He's barely old enough to compete full-time in a NASCAR series. He's won 8 of the 15 ARCA East races he's started. In 7 starts this year, his average finish was 1.7. That's ridiculous. I understand ARCA, not as competitive maybe as it once was. He's in one of the best cars every week. But you know, when the deck is stacked in your favor, you're supposed to put up eye-popping numbers, and Sammy Smith has succeeded in doing that for the most part the last 2 years. I mentioned he made some Xfinity starts last year. He did. He made 9 starts for JGR. He looked a little more human there, I'll be honest. He had 3 top 10s, 1 top 5. His best finish was at Watkins Glen. Not bad for a teenager on a part-time schedule, but now he'll be full-time. We'll see what Sammy Smith can do. The relationship Sammy Smith's family has to Pilot Flying J will certainly make up for, you know, some of the sponsorship Gibbs is losing with Brandon Jones and Menards walking out the door. I say that I don't want people to just dismiss Sammy Smith as, oh, daddy's money, another pay driver. Sure, he does come from a family with racing connections. He's gotten opportunities along the way that, you know, many other kids could never dream of. But based on what I could find, for the most part, he's done well with those opportunities. So this is a big step forward, full-time in a JGR Xfinity car. There are high expectations that come with it. I expect him to win a handful of races this year, make a deep playoff run, possibly contend for the championship. That's a lot to ask of an 18-year-old, but he is in a very fortunate situation. I believe he's up to the task. Sure, he may be another kid, you know, in a very privileged environment, but I believe there's talent there, and if the results on the track are loud enough, before long it'll start to drown out many of the naysayers, or at least I hope. So wishing Sammy Smith the best. That was the first JGR Xfinity announcement. Today, they confirmed John Hunter Nemechek will drive the number 20 car full-time next season. So John Hunter getting the promotion from trucks to Xfinity. Also, the 20 car is back. That makes me happy. Ben Bayshore, who was Kyle Busch's crew chief in Cup this last year, will now move down to Xfinity to work with John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter, in my opinion, very deserving of this opportunity. Here's a driver who bet on himself. Remember, in 2020, not all that long ago, John Hunter Nemechek had made it to the Cup Series. He had a full-time chartered Cup Series ride. Not a great one. It was, you know, the 38 at front row. Not the most competitive seat. So John Hunter, rather than ride around in 25th on Sunday for the rest of his career, decided to step back down, took a great opportunity with Kyle Busch Motorsports in a race win capable truck, and sort of restarted his climb to the Cup Series. He's running trucks the last 2 years. He's won a combined 7 races. Not too bad. And now he's getting that first promotion into a very competitive, a championship caliber Xfinity Series ride. He'll be one of the favorites next season. So far, his master plan seems to be working pretty well. Again, I think very deserving of this ride. He did take a small step backwards, statistically speaking, at least in 2022. He won 5 races in 2021. Last year, he only won 2. He made it to the championship 4 that first year, just missed out on it this year, but still very, very competitive. And that extra year of Cup Series experience to go along with all the previous experience he has racing for his father's team, the front row, all that stuff, I think is going to work out in his favor. So happy for John Hunter. I think that's a good pick, a very solid pick from Gibbs. JGR also announced that the 19 car would be raced by multiple drivers throughout the season. The only name they dropped today was Ryan Truex. That's right, Ryan Truex is going to make 6 Xfinity starts in the 19 next year. Good for him. That will be the new all-star car, if you will. But there you go. Joe Gibbs Racing, their Xfinity lineup has been revealed. No real surprises. Just a solid set of drivers, I believe. Compared to last year's duo of Ty Gibbs and Brandon Jones, I think this is kind of on par. Brandon Jones, while he's been very solid for Gibbs over the years, I don't think JGR ever looked at Brandon Jones as a Cup Series candidate, truly. He wasn't really a prospect at this point. At least that's how it seemed from the outside looking in. Now with both Sammy Smith and John Hunter Nemechek racing full-time, I think both those guys are future Cup drivers. They're both starving for results, hungry for the attention of the Cup Series team. It'll be difficult to match, this last year's success. Ty Gibbs obviously won the championship. Brandon Jones should have made it to the championship 4. But I think both Sammy Smith and John Hunter Nemechek, especially by year's end, will be championship 4 contenders. And the equipment can obviously get it done. So I still have high hopes. Again, a solid pick, I think, for JGR. No surprises, but no disappointments either. Toyota wasn't done. Sam Hunt Racing, another Toyota team in the NASCAR Xfinity Series that gets support from TRD, is expanding. Kaz Grala will drive the number 26 Toyota full-time next season. Meanwhile, Connor Mozak will drive the number 24 part-time. Well, he'll make 20 starts next season. Youth is the name of the game once again. Both Connor Mozak, Kaz Grala in their early 20s. Kaz Grala's NASCAR journey has to be one of the more interesting ones the last few years. He won a truck race back at Daytona in 2017 driving for GMS, I believe. That was really his one and only claim to fame until 2020, when I think everyone turned their heads and took notice of Kaz Grala, maybe for the first time, when he subbed for Austin Dillon at the Daytona Road Course, a Cup race, and finished 7th. In his Cup debut. And that was during the pandemic. I don't believe there was any practice or qualifying. He had no track time prior to the green flag, and he finished inside the top 10. He's been a Chevy guy really ever since, making part-time starts in Cup, Truck, Xfinity over the last 2 or 3 years. Last year, he did grab a top 5 finish at Watkins Glen in the Big Machine number 48 Xfinity car. So road courses, I guess, have emerged as sort of Kaz Grala's specialty. And I don't know a lot about Connor Mozak, but I know he comes from Trans Am Racing, so it's safe to say Sam Hunt Racing is going to be competitive on the left and right-hand turns next year. Which, considering the direction NASCAR has gone the past few seasons, seemingly adding newer and newer road courses every single year, you gotta be good at road courses to make a run at the championship. And with the whole win and you're in format, you steal one win at the Chicago Street Course, for example, or Road America, or Watkins Glen, you're in the playoffs. He'll be a threat to win, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 times before the regular season ends. How many road courses does Xfinity have on their schedule next year? They're going back to Portland, right? So there's at least one. Kaz Grala is going to have plenty of opportunities. So I think that's a good pick from Sam Hunt Racing. Connor Mozak, again, another young driver with a lot to prove. He's made a lot of ARCA starts the past couple of years, or I know last year he did for sure. So we'll see what he's got. Toyota, their Xfinity lineups appear to be set. Any surprises in the comments below? Kaz Grala, definitely a bit of a surprise, but I think it's a good pick. Sammy Smith, I think people are sleeping on him just a little bit. They're a little too quick to dismiss him. He does have difficult shoes to fill. Ty Gibbs tore it up in Xfinity the last couple of years. But overall, I like the choice from Joe Gibbs Racing. And John Hunter Nemechek, I think you kind of know what you're going to get. He's going to be a championship contender. So, I don't know, good picks. Let me know down in the comments. Any you like especially, or any you're a little hesitant about. Share your thoughts. Toyota had a lot of seats to fill this offseason, mainly because they lost several talented drivers over the past few months. Chandler Smith leaving for Chevrolet and calling. Brandon Jones leaving for Junior Motorsports. Leading the charge, though, was Kyle Busch leaving Joe Gibbs Racing for Richard Childress. Today, RCR revealed an all-new look to the number 8 and revealed Kyle Busch's first paint scheme of the 2023 season. First, here's a look at the new number 8. Yes, ooh, I like it. Sharp corners, a little edgier, just like Kyle Busch. Could take someone's eye out with this thing. It looks pretty good. I don't know if you guys find this interesting, but I always find it fascinating to see which teams swap out number fonts depending on which drivers leave, you know? Like Hendrick Motorsports is never going to change that 24 font. They're never going to change the 48. Richard Childress, he may mess with the 8 font. He changed it for Hemrick, changed it for Reddick, now changing it for Kyle Busch. But RCR will never change that number 3 font. No siree. Meanwhile, teams like Roush will routinely change their number logos. They changed the 17 when Kenseth left and Stenhouse came in, and they actually just tweaked it once more now for Chris Buescher. The 6 when Brad Keselowski came in, RFK, complete rebrand, totally new look. Personally, I've always appreciated when teams tweak the number font depending on the driver. I completely understand why Richard Petty's never going to change the 43. Doesn't matter if it's a Petty driving that thing, an Andretti driving that thing, a Jones, an Almirola, 43 is always going to look the same. But others, I don't know, I appreciate when they tweak them per driver to give each driver their own unique branding, their own flair, and that's what RCR is doing here for Kyle Busch. I joked about it being edgier, but in a way that does fit Kyle Busch's, on-track personality. So I like it. They also revealed a bunch of new merch, which, looks good. I like this new number 8. Oh, look, what's the puppy? Never seen that. I don't know, I guess I always find that kind of thing interesting. I also wonder how many designers, how many meetings went into designing that new number 8. Like, it feels like such a simple change, but that was probably hours upon hours of deliberation, debating behind the scenes. I don't know. I sometimes find that stuff interesting. Beyond just the new number 8 logo, RCR also revealed Kyle Busch's first paint scheme of the year. Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen is staying with RCR, and they debuted their all-new paint scheme. Check it out. I love how that little donut burnout made the shape of a croissant. Here's a rendering, a look at the paint scheme, similar in many ways to Reddick's scheme last year, except this one actually features a real photo of croissants on the rear side. Looks pretty good. There's your first look at the new number 8 Kyle Busch font in action, so to speak. Looks pretty good. Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal tweeted today that BetMGM, 3Chi, Lenovo, and Alsco Uniforms joined Cheddar's Kitchen as pre-existing RCR sponsors that will stick around and sponsor Kyle Busch in 2023. RCR redesigned the number 8 and is also close to having Busch's car sold out for 2023. I'm sure Kyle Busch fans are happy to hear that. Others will criticize Joe Gibbs Racing now, saying, well, wait, hey, Joe Gibbs Racing kept saying they couldn't find any sponsors for Kyle Busch, but here's RCR. They got 5 right there off the bat. I don't think that's a fair comparison. Joe Gibbs Racing was having to go out, make cold calls, and attract an all-new sponsor that perhaps had no prior interest or knowledge of NASCAR. Meanwhile, RCR just had to go to their existing sponsors who've been with them for years and say, hey, you want to re-up? You want to do more of the same? Just with a newer, perhaps bigger name driver? That's a much easier sell than what Joe Gibbs Racing was trying to do. And Joe Gibbs Racing, we've talked about this on the show in the past, they chase whales. They're trying to find that one sponsor that will fund 20, 25, 30 races a year like they have with FedEx. Bass Pro Shop sponsors a lot of Truex's races. M&M's made up the vast majority of Kyle Busch's races. Gibbs was looking for a one-to-one replacement for M&M's, and those are just really hard to find. Cheddar's, it sounds like they will have more primaries next season than they did this year with Reddick, so that's great that they're increasing their involvement, but between Alsco, between BetMGM, handful of races each, it may be a little easier to sell sponsors when they're not forced to make such a major year-long primary commitment. So while sure, by this last summer, Joe Gibbs Racing may have given up on finding a sponsor for Kyle Busch, I think they may have sold themselves on Ty Gibbs by that point. For many, many months, they were looking for a sponsor. They were just looking for one big whale. They almost got it with Oracle, per previous reports, but that deal fell apart, and going to RCR, all their existing sponsors, it was a much easier sell, I think, for Childress. So, but there you have it. First look at one of Kyle Busch's 2023 Chevys. Kyle Busch in a Chevy. I'm trying to get used to saying it, trying to get repetitions down so my brain pieces that together. Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you like the new look number 8? You happy Cheddar's is sticking around in a big, big way? Whatever happened to Sling? Remember they're back and forth on Twitter? I was hoping Sling may step up for a race or two. Who knows? Anyway, y'all, that's gonna do it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming videos. We've got some fun things planned outside of just the NASCAR news cycle as well. As always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters too. I will see you all again tomorrow, I believe. Should have a pretty exciting video, maybe a special guest on here at the end of the week. I can't wait to share. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, all. I'll see you in the next episode.